Dear all, December 10th is the World Human Rights Day. Many places around the world are observing this day in different ways. We continue to use the example of Tai Ji Men case to discuss freedom of religion or belief. Echoing the Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which protects theistic, non-theistic, and atheistic believers as well as those who do not profess any religion or belief. In today's program, we will discuss the Tai Ji Men case through 3 video segments. Also, there will be 2 panelists in the program. Let's watch the first video clip.
The auction process has been legally concluded.
It's our sacred land! How dare you! How dare you! How dare you! How dare you! Robbing people's property! Robbing people's property!
I saw a streak of shadow in his eyes. Based on my instinct from years of handling cases, I think that he might have raised goblins.
If based on the look in your eyes, a prosecutor can decide whether to prosecute you or not, then there will be no peace in Taiwan.
I think these values should be honored in tax law as well. The first, second, and third trials all rule the nature of the money in question as gifts. Then it should not be a tax situation for a cram school.
Because he thinks this is a respect for the master. It is a kind of gift, where the indictment is unacceptable. If the tax authority uses this indictment as the basis for taxation, I think it is questionable.
Code doesn't count. The code doesn't count. The code doesn't count. We would like to commend Tai Ji Men for its contribution to sports and family life education.
It has been confirmed that the money involved is a gift rather than income. So there is no issue of income tax. For the facts confirmed in a criminal court ruling, the administrative agencies have no reason not to adopt them.
You can go to the website of the Control Yuan to see that I have issued 7 corrections. For each correction, the NTB said, we made a mistake. In 2011, I told the Minister of Finance that this case should be closed. He didn't take it as his own business. He thought, I took the bonus anyway, and if there is any tax due, it is you that should pay it.
In the criminal and legislative aspects, Tai Ji Men has been declared innocent of all charges. Tai Ji Men has won the case. As for the National Taxation Bureau in the Executive Yuan system, our appeal has been heard in the Supreme Court. The final decision of the 3 court trials confirmed Tai Ji Men innocent. At the National Taxation Bureau, within the Ministry of Finance's appeal system, Tai Ji Men once again won the case. Even the controversian decided that Tai Ji Men is innocent. I can't think of any ways after numerous legislators have inquired regarding this case. I can't think of any other course of action in our country's legal system can be taken to solve the case. I really don't know what is going on. Is it how our country's legal system is designed?
This case has been dragged for more than 10 years and is unable to be resolved. The administrative agencies have to take full responsibility, while the administrative agencies exercise administrative discretion. They have to ensure that people's human rights on taxation are protected, which is the most important spirit and objective.
The whole judicial system has proved Tai Ji Men innocent. There's no way the investigation by the tax agencies is clearer than that by the judicial department.
I know this issue has wasted too much time and resource. This is very serious, and it has shaken the 5 branches of government and the foundation of the nation.
Calling on the Taxation Bureau to revoke its illegal tax bills. You just ignore them. Hey, you think you're above us? You ignore courts, the control yuan, and even the legislative yuan. You really think you're the boss?
Here, and all the information and evidence is here. It's spread out all over the floor, and you clearly know that you are in the wrong. What you've said in the past is questionable, but you want to continue to make the same mistake? That's bad. We request that the Ministry of Finance conclude this case in 2 months. Exactly what to do, and what are you going to do? Don't delay anymore.
Gifts in nature. The others all say gifts too. Let the NTB of the Central Area submit the report to the Ministry of Finance. It's the NTB of the Central Area. It's not good to let them take full responsibilities. Just report to the ministry. Okay, we'll do as the Deputy Minister says. We'll send our official report to the Ministry of Finance. Just now we said to revoke. Revoke it? Okay, area will report to the Ministry of Finance.
The Ministry of Finance sent letters to legislator Qiu Jingtian, Xing Zhetu, and Justin Chow, saying it had demanded the National Taxation Bureau of the Central Area to revoke the execution pursuant to Article 40 of the Tax Collection Act. 4 days later, the National Taxation Bureau of the Central Area in turn sent a letter to the Hsinchu branch of the Administrative Enforcement Agency requesting it to stop the execution pursuant to Clause 3 of Article 9 of the Administrative Enforcement Law.
In the film, we see many legislators, judges, and government officials in Taiwan stand up for justice and righteousness. And we also see the commitment of tax officials to the people at the public hearing. It is really outrageous that the official broke their promise made in a public hearing. How could people rely on the government without accountability? Next, we'd like to invite our first guest, Crystal, to share with us what she learned from Tai Ji Men and what her calling for in the Tai Ji Men unjust case.
8 years ago, I was deeply depressed but unable to save myself. I got a chance to come to Tai Ji Men to visit. The moment I first met Tai Ji Men, I was deeply moved. My heart was wrought by the wide Tai Ji Men world. Desperate to seek the happiness from what I saw in Tai Ji Men, and joined Tai Ji Men right away. After more than 8 years of perseverance, I still refuse to give up, because I know that this pure place of practice is my strong backbone and the support of my spirit. Tai Ji Men is a place for self-cultivation. When I first started, I knew our rule included not to talk about politics, religion, or business, but just a place to cultivate our body. This let me feel a simple joy in my heart. Over the years, I have learned how to be myself in Tai Ji Men. I first learned that I must love myself by all means. After I have the ability to love myself, I start to have spare time to love others, people around me, and the world. This skill has benefited me a lot. I have always thought that loving myself is a shameful, selfish act before. I always keep my eyes on the people around me, hoping they can become themselves according to my wishes. I worked hard to make my two daughters learning a lot of extra classes, but becoming burdens for them according to what I thought, and helped them to enroll in all the extracurricular talent classes that they could study. I was exhausted with them both physically and mentally. I resent them for not working hard, and they complained me that I made them having no spare time. Until I realized that children only come to this world through us. The task we have should be just take care of them and make them become themselves. Only then did I understand that children are completely independent individuals, and I should just accompany them to grow up. This time, I got rid of my anxiety. Who they become after are entirely their own choices. All I can do is help them to realize what they wanted to be. Shifu taught us to accept ourselves, tell ourselves that we are the best, and that we are the only ones that no one can replace. I just started to look at my inside heart, what exactly I need. My eyes are no longer staring at people, just staring at myself. On the few occasions when I listened to Shifu's teachings, I burst into tears. But I didn't know what it was for. I just couldn't stop crying, probably because I was comforted inside my heart. I finally become a brave person myself, no longer afraid of things. I no longer dodge what I should face. Over the years, following Shifu, I have also done some good deeds to promote love and peace. Shifu took his disciples to meet with leaders of various countries around the world, promoting the world as one family and carrying out a conscience movement. Shifu takes us, takes the peace bell, invites influential people to ring the peace bell, and holds a bell ringing ceremony, so that the moment the bell rings, the leaders will bring peace to the world and stop evil, also promote good. This world could be more beautiful. I have followed Shifu and have been to New York several times. I have participated in the UN conferences related to the International Day of Conscience on April 5th every year. I really can't believe that I can also contribute to the peace of this world. However, I don't quite understand the unjust and false tax case that Tai Ji Men has suffered. Such a good place has been violated by the Taiwanese government for human rights and freedom of belief in the past 25 years. Sitting in the United States, I did not understand why the prosecutor released false information to the outside world without evidence. What's even more exaggerated is the criminal court's third instance verdict that Tai Ji Men was not guilty, tax-free, and not violating the tax collection law. However, the IRS can still ignore the criminal court's judgment and continue to issue bills, seize illegally, and force auctions illegally. Very surprisingly unreasonable. Such a good Qigong martial arts practice group at Tai Ji Men was subjected to political purge and religious persecution by the government under the authoritarian political and social environment at that time 25 years ago. Prosecutor Hou Kuanren not only searched Tai Ji Men for no reason, but detained shifu, shimu, and the brothers and sisters. They even used media public opinion to make judgments before they were trialed. Thousands of brothers and sisters were shot, and they were bullied and humiliated by public opinion in the streets and lanes. The IRS issued a bill for taxation without any justifiable reasons. Even if we were found not guilty and not taxed in the third criminal trial, the 5 annual tax sanctions from 1991, 1993 to 1996 have been corrected to 0. The IRS still refuses, admitting the wrongful cancellation of the 1992 unjust and false tax bill is really unclear. Many experts and scholars have pointed out that the main reason is that the tax bonuses of government personnel are involved, which makes people dumbfounded. Taiwan's democracy is really making us worry, and it will be a joke in the international arena. Just as Hans Knut, chairman of the Dutch Foundation for Freedom of Religion or Belief, criticized the unscrupulous officials in the Tai Ji Men case for not being punished. He failed to send a message to the public. The Internal Revenue Service can be impunity and override the law, not for the law, serve the people. Another message is that freedom of religion and freedom of speech are not fully guaranteed in Taiwan. Taiwan's Internal Revenue Service has more power than ordinary administrative agencies should have, so that the victims cannot be unjustified. This is a crisis of democracies. Finally, I hope that the Taiwanese government can correct its mistakes as soon as possible, cancel all illegal tax bills in Tai Ji Men, and return Tai Ji Men to innocence. It also lets the world know that Taiwan's democracy can be corrected by knowing its mistakes, and it will become a truly free, democratic, and human rights government that is convincing internationally.
Very well said, Crystal. Let the world know that Taiwan's democracy can be corrected by knowing its mistakes. It will become a truly free, democratic, and human rights government. This kind of illegal and abusive drama has been performed in real life for 25 years, and it is not over yet. Let's watch the second part of the film.
The bidding process is supposed to be open. I can hear the sound from the auction room. I can hear what happened.
Dropping number 1 to number 100 bids into the tender box.
Which one do you follow for the 1030 action? Please answer. Li Guifeng, Senior Executive Officer. Which one do you follow? No, there is no mention of 1030. You wrote 11, okay?
We have internal operating guidelines.
Then show them to me immediately.
They are written on the official website.
Okay, then you can show me your website right away.
We don't have the internet here.
How can it be?
Why should government officials follow their conscience? He does not dare to show his moral courage and leave the people in the sun, wasting not only the resources of the people, but also the resources of the country. I think that government officials should be conscientious and should administer policies in accordance with the law and bring this case to an end as soon as possible.
It is taxing illegally. This wrongful and false case has lasted for more than 20 years. If the 1992 tax bill of the Tai Ji Men wrongful and false case is not rectified, then we can say that there is tyranny in Taiwan.
Thousands of people surround the auction site in Miaoli. Even if the iron gate was locked in front of them, the people still sat and wait to defend the land. The Tai Ji Men case, in which over 10,000 people have been victimized, has lasted for 24 years, but the enforcement agency still wanted to auction the land of Tai Ji Men to pay back a wrong tax bill when Tai Ji Men was found not guilty of tax evasion by the court 13 years ago.
If a person on death row cannot be executed when he is later found innocent, then why did the 1992 tax bill issued by the Supreme Administrative Court get executed? Officials from the Ministry of Justice also said it was legal to carry out the enforcement. So is the Su Chan-ho case. It's legal. They could have executed the death penalty. Why didn't they execute it at the time? It's because there is a problem. Since it is a problematic judgment, the enforcement agency should not have executed it. So why did they execute it? Why? It's a question of bonuses. When the Tai Ji Men case was handled like this, will ordinary people encounter the same problem? Definitely.
The administrative enforcement agency is not qualified. It is not objective and neutral, and it is not qualified to enforce the enforcement law. In order to frame people, it deceived the public and broke the law. The truth will finally be revealed.
The state does not have the power to seize people's property, and the administrative system should not persecute people and their family.
The entire auction is completely illegal, based on the Supreme Court's decision, Supreme Administrative Court's decision, the investigation report of the Control Yuan, and from the arguments put forward by various experts and scholars both at home and abroad. It is an unlawful judgment, but after the first unlawful auction, it is actually going on for the second time today. Now they are really going to execute it, and they have violated Article 129 of the criminal law for the crime of unlawful expropriation. We will file another lawsuit later.
还是什么？你怎么看是一错？对不对？他当时通知我说办案的时候，我是看，我说这样不好吧？而且他我们怎么这么干？他说这样办。就这样子办。后来有人找我们讲，其实没问题，我们是办事的。你原来我们总要看嘛，但是呢，让你不要讲，我说 是老子我当时去看，我说你们怎么算的？他拿给我看，你从哪里来的？解释不清，我说让你们算吧。然后他说啊，这不查。不查，那你要怎么样？他说我们是这样的。你们要想的，这就是要做的。哎，要不查，怪我。台湾人啊，找我是他承认是，
他会，你是说他找你去只是做样子而已？就是你不管说什么，反正他写他的，他配合是要做吗？
他说话，
那是啥？
他说话，那时候10年前的案子。
The confession of conscience made by tax collector 石月生 before his death reaffirms that it was prosecutor Hou Kuanren who falsified and persecuted Tai Ji Men with state violence by means of judicial and tax. Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights says we all have the right to our own beliefs, to have a religion, have no religion, or to change it. The concept of cultivating one's moral character falls within the scope of the beliefs protected by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Next, we would like to invite Lily to share her thought.
Hello, everyone. I'm very honored to share my thoughts on the Tai Ji Men case. In this case, a few Taiwanese bureaucrats have not only violated the human rights and religious freedom of our members in Taiwan, but have also violated our rights as Tai Ji Men members in the United States. We have petitioned Taipei economic and cultural offices in various US cities. We also protested in different places, which drew many people's attention. They showed their support for us by giving us a thumbs up or honking their horns. Many people listened to our explanations and find it unbelievable that something like this could happen in Taiwan, which is recognized as a beacon of democracy in Asia. And they were very surprised that it has lasted for a quarter of a century. Tai Ji Men has exhausted all legal options available to them in Taiwan, yet the case remains unresolved. Therefore, we are seeking international support and hope that global voices of justice will push the Taiwanese government to resolve this case of human rights violations and religious persecution. Human rights and religious freedom are universal values that transcend national boundaries and are important to the United States. This summer, I attended the International Religious Freedom Summit in Washington, D.C., where many influential leaders participated, such as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, among others. And the mantra of the summit is religious freedom for everybody, everywhere, at all times. When we petition our elected officials in the United States, such as House representatives and senators, they listen attentively, read the information we provided, and express their willingness to assist us. Because as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. put it, injustice anywhere is threat to justice everywhere. I am grateful to civil rights leaders such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for their efforts in ensuring that we now live in a more democratic free and equal society. I'm also thankful for the women's suffrage movement, which benefited women not just in the United States, but also around the world. Women's right to vote became more widely known as a result. Today, Tai Ji Men is fighting for the redress of the Tai Ji Men case, not only for themselves, but also to set a precedent for the rest of the world, demonstrating that governments cannot use taxation as a weapon to violate people's freedom of belief. When we share our case in the United States, and when we mentioned that in 2007, Taiwan Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men not guilty of tax evasion or any other charges, people got it. They realized that the Taiwanese Taxation Bureau was being unreasonable in seizing Tai Ji Men's sacred land, while it owed no taxes. In any democratic country where the rule of law prevails, this case would not have occurred in the first place. However, the tax case continues to harass us. And in August 2020, Tai Ji Men's sacred land was illegally auctioned and confiscated by the Taiwanese government. The National Taxation Bureau imposed taxes on Tai Ji Men simply based on the indictment of prosecutor Hou Kuan-ren. And the prosecutor's main evidence against Tai Ji Men for tax evasion is the testimony of tax collector Shi Yuesheng. Recently, it was revealed that the tax collector disclosed in a video interview that the Tai Ji Men case was instigated by the prosecutor. And the tax collector was pressured to give false testimony against Tai Ji Men. In response to the confession of the tax collector, Professor Massimo Introvina, a lawyer, sociologist, founder and managing director of the Center for Studies on New Religions, said, "It proves that what happened was not a mistake. There was no mistake. It was a deliberate framing of Tai Ji Men for obscure motivations through false documents, false accusations, and a false tax investigation that never happened." Now, if this is not enough to reopen the Tai Ji Men case and cancel the 1992 tax bill, give back to Tai Ji Men their sacred land, I don't know what more is needed. It's a general principle of the law all over the world that when new elements emerge, even final decisions can and should be revised. Revision is a fundamental principle of justice. In order to awaken the conscience of Taiwanese officials and uphold justice, Tai Ji Men members have continued to speak out in Taiwan, the United States, and around the world. And we are pleased to see more and more conscientious people voicing their support for Tai Ji Men along the way. I'm grateful to all those people who have helped us from all over the world. I believe the Tai Ji Men case is a litmus test to determine who is moral and conscientious, as well as who is on the right side of history. What we do today will be recorded in our own history, and even in the histories of our countries and the world. People may deceive others for a while, but they cannot deceive their own conscience or heaven. People make mistakes, and no one is flawless. However, it is critical to acknowledge and correct one's mistakes. I sincerely call on President Tsai Ing-wen to lead her administration to immediately correct its mistakes, resolve the Tai Ji Men case, revoke the illegal tax bill, return our sacred land, and protect religious freedom and human rights, so as to leave a great legacy. Thank you all.
Tai Ji Men upholding nonviolent resistance fighting for 25 years to rectify the unjust case. We are looking forward to the leader of Taiwan who can practice human rights, protect the freedom of religion or belief, and return the Tai Ji Men sacred land. Next, let's watch the third part of the film today.
Regarding the Tai Ji Men case, it was taxed from 1991 to 1996. It was strange. How could this happen? So, you see, a search was conducted on December 19, 1996. He said that there was tax evasion. The income tax in 1996 cannot be audited until April 1997. They had not yet filed their taxes. How could you investigate tax evasion? How do you know how they will file their tax return? Therefore, the tax years involved in the case clearly showed that this violated the tax law. Those who study the law know that you cannot prosecute or convict a person without getting the cash flow data. During the search on December 19, 1996, 2 bank statements show the balance of $22,000. However, the next day, a newspaper published that the master of Tai Ji Men had $110 million income from fraudulent acts and cram school tuition. You can't make such an inference even when you are writing a novel. How did they come up with this number? $22,000 times 5,000 is exactly $110 million. Probably that was how they got the number. The so-called evidence obtained after the search can be proved to be false, because you already said the amount. The transcripts and testimony. When were they done? Definitely after December 20th. Could I know how much tax you have evaded the minute I am assigned to the case when auditing taxes? It's more than illegal taxation. It's the so-called framing. $22,000 was blown up to be $110 million. Then this is all imagined. If they can impose taxes on people without evidence, then do we still need tax agencies? You can collect whatever amount of tax you want if you find more prosecutors like him. It's that simple. It's very clear in the Tai Ji Men tax case that the tax officers and Taxation Bureau imposed illegal taxes. Whether the tax laws applied or the tax demand are not justified. Imposing taxes based on imaginary data is absolutely against the principle that taxes should be imposed according to the law. No other nations that implement income taxes have this kind of practice.
Tai Ji Men进三审疑点。昭告天地，太极门人，捍卫圣地，誓死不屈。
The more the truth is discerned, the clearer it becomes. The scholars and aspirants in Taiwan, as well as international experts and scholars, have all called on the Taiwanese government to address the problem and stop the persecution on Tai Ji Men. The best action for Taiwan to take in response to World Human Rights Day is to immediately return the sacred land of Tai Ji Men, clean the name of Tai Ji Men shifu and dizi, and stop the persecution of freedom of religion or belief. Finally, let's listen to this song and feel the love and perseverance of the Tai Ji Men. We hope Taiwan will soon return the right track of democracy, rule of law, and human rights by rectifying the Tai Ji Men unjust case.
承受了24年的冤屈，依然屹立不摇，为的是什么？为的就是要让我们的台湾更好。台湾更好。
在前方，穿过黑夜，拨开云雾，终会迎向阳光，因为爱，所以我很勇敢，向前走，向前走，坚持对的方向，鼓声隆隆，雷电交加。失去理想，长夜将近，黎明破晓。不怀疑，我们拥有天崩地裂的力量，因为爱，天地荆棘中迎来花香。用爱克服恐惧，用幸福